Today I'm talking about organizing my seed collection. I'd like to invite you to grab your collection and join me as I ramble on about it, or just get a drink and enjoy talking about one of our favorite things, the garden. Welcome. Today I'm going through my seed collection. I need to purge a few seeds. I keep in here some seed catalogs anytime I want to order some specific varieties, which I won't get to do this season, but maybe next time. I love those. I have some random boxes and bags and items to store my materials. I have a flower press, which I thought would be a great addition to my garden hobbying. Few of those little water catcher trays, some gifted seeds, eggplant. I think I bought that one 2 years ago. Anyway, I have to go through all my seeds because if you look carefully, you'll find dates and it'll say best by or sell by. Now, a lot of my seed packets read sell by, which is kind of deceiving because I know seeds can be viable for 4 to 10 years. So yeah, the sell by date is for the stores. That way the customer has a reasonable amount of time to be able to plant the seeds successfully. But sell by is not necessarily the expiration date. I do know I need to go through and get rid of the oldest sell by dated seed packets that I have. I only have 3 plant markers in here left. I did away with plant markers for a while because I had a toddler and I just knew she'd be pulling off all my plant markers and it wouldn't do me any good. And so I did away with that method for a time, but I've gotten into the habit of just sowing things quickly and forgetting what I planted where, don't always remember. And so today I'm going to use some rocks to make some new plant markers because I really want to remember which varieties I'm planting, and I want to be able to observe which varieties are successful in my particular location, in my pots, and which ones are not successful. So I really want to remember this, and so I want to do better about recording it this time around. I used to record everything, but again, I was raising a toddler, and so for a while I got out of habit. But now there's no time like the present to reestablish good habits. I'm putting some in this bowl that I think I'm going to do away with, but again, some of the seeds may still be viable, but I did buy some brand new fresh seeds at my local store that I know I want to use, and I only have so much garden space, and it's just good to get organized and to minimize. And so I'm thinking what I'm going to do with these seeds that may or may not be viable is I can either throw them away, of course, or just try to use them somewhere. I'm reluctant to give them away to a friend because since they're a little bit older seeds, I'm going to feel bad if they have no success with them. And so I really want to avoid making that mistake. But I noticed the other day when we were out exploring and walking around our area that there was this playground area that had like these community garden boxes that are currently unused. All that's growing in there is weeds. And I thought it might be fun to kind of scatter my older seeds there and go back and check on them every few weeks and see what comes up on its own. It's rainy season here, so the rain that water is so good for getting seeds going. The raindrops tend to push seeds into the soil and to just the right depth. They give it a deep soak, and when you're getting rain every day or almost every day, you just know you're good. So yes, about that community garden space I was talking about a moment ago, I think, it'll be really fun to grow in there. Of course, I don't know how often people are visiting it. It's sort of in an interesting spot that I don't know if people are passing by it very much. And so maybe we'll go back and see some herbs, pretty flowers, a vegetable or two. But it may mainly feed the wildlife, which I guess is okay. It's better than the seeds going into the trash. So now what I'm doing is I grabbed some rocks I had around my property. I chose some that are very flat, at least on one side, as flat and smooth as I could find, and I'm just using a fine point Sharpie marker to mark what the seeds are. And I'm being specific about the variety. Like, instead of writing pea, I'm writing little marvel pea, and setting those aside. So then wherever I decide to sow these brand new seeds I just got, I'm going to stick my little rock plant marker. And since my daughter is older, I think she'll do well about leaving them where they're supposed to be. She understands more now than when she was 2 years old. It's good to garden with children, though, even though it gets messy. My daughter learned to plant carrots with me, and of course, it was really hard to get her to space them out perfectly and all these things that we do, but she was excited to push them into the soil, and then these teeny tiny little seedlings pop up from the soil, and she wanted to pick them right away. And so she picked some of them early, and she was excited, and she ate them. And my child is like most children, not the best vegetable eater, but she does eat carrots willingly. She loves raw carrots, which is more than I could say for myself when I was little. And I know it's because she remembers growing her own, and it's one of her favorite things to grow. It's so satisfying. I think she loves pulling, them out of the soil and not knowing what it's going to be under there, like if it's going to be big or small, or if you get those rainbow color packets, what color the carrot's going to be. It sure is fun to get that nice little surprise. That's the great thing about root vegetables. I'm interested in this new seed packet I found. Early Girl. I know Better Boy is a good performing tomato variety. I hear about it, see it all the time. So I was interested in this Early Girl. I like any kind of seeds that say early, bush type, compact. All great things for container gardening, which is what I do right now. I had my first taste of in-ground gardening while we were in Georgia this last few years. But most of my gardening has been in containers because we've lived in temporary locations, We've only owned one place so far. And it's just what you need to do. If you're in an apartment style home, your only choice is containers. Now presently, I'm using fabric bag containers, which I really love. I want lots and lots of them now. I only have so much space to work with, so I like to crowd my vegetables and herbs and use companion planting, and sometimes the containers are still quite productive that way, and sometimes the vegetables are smaller and fewer, but you experiment and find what works for you. Well, I'm so glad you joined me for my organization task. I hope you were able to work on your seed collection as well, or at least just sit back and relax and listen to some garden rambling as we talk about and think about something that we both enjoy. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day in your garden.